workshop's going to be all about the environment. And as you can see, it's going to be very creative and hands-on, so I hope you enjoy it. And Sari's going to be the person who's going to take the lead on this workshop. Thanks very much, and I'll pass you over to Sari.
Hello, so my name is Sari, and this is Janet, and Janet is doing the workshop as well today with us. So what we're going to do, we're going to have students from Newcastle College telling you about the environment, and we're going to have a good PowerPoint. And after that, we're going to do the actual workshop. So what we're going to do, I'm going to explain a bit later, but basically the idea is to customize some clothing, what you got. For example, this was old white hoodie, and I just draw on it. So basically that's the idea, just make something new, something old and tacky, yeah? So basically what we're going to do, I thought we could do like a little icebreaker before. So if everybody could talk for the next person thing about yourself, and after that, when you told each other that, you're just gonna tell that about your friend. So you need to remember what the person said. Is that all right? Yeah. That makes sense. So tell to your friend what your name is, where you're from, and one interesting thing about yourself. Yeah? And we got a couple of minutes. So go next to someone that you don't know, yeah? And do the same again.
Samuke.
Yeah.
She is from South Africa, in Newcastle. She interested in social development stuff. Thank you.
Suen Shuhen. He's from Shinshu City in Japan, and he loves tennis.
Yeah.
No, tennis, not tennis.
Okay.
So I've been talking to Matthew. He's from normally from London, so I start from London, but he lives here now. He's 16, nearly 17, and interesting fact, he loves bow tie. I think it's okay. Listen.
Morning, everyone. I'm going to try my very best to speak as many languages as I can. South Africans. Hello. Okay, hello. Just keep that simple as English. That's safe. Germans. So I would be saying Willkommen.
Willkommen, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Switzerland.
Hi.
Bienvenue. Is that fine? But that suffice. Okay. Anyone from Latvia here? No. Ah, can skip that one. That was hard. And Japan, konnichiwa. Ah, I'm good, eh? What I say?
Finish.
Finish. What do I say?
Tervetuloa.
So could you come again?
Tervetuloa.
Tuloa.
Oh, well done.
Ah.
You have to pronounce the South African Zulu greeting.
Okay.
Sawubona.
No, Sawubona is when it's plural. Yeah. Then if it's like a group like this, you say Sanibonani.
Sanibonani.
There we go.
And from everyone here in Newcastle, good morning. You're welcome to this year's edition of the Newcastles of the World Youth Summit. Who was in South Africa in 2010? Hi Tim. I wasn't, but I'm looking forward to the one in 2014. You're welcome to Newcastle Upon Tyne here in England. And today, of course, is Monday, the 23rd of July, the year 2012. I am Matthew Otubu.
I'm Lucy Bennett.
I'm Tom Parker.
And I'm Hannah Ken.
We're all students, sixth form students at Newcastle College. which we'll talk about later on. We're scene ambassadors, so we work with Rachel Little, our coordinator, and we deal with sustainable communities and environments here in the northeast of England.
Okay, I'm going to take over. So, you've been staying in Newcastle for a few days, I get it. So, Newcastle Upon Tyne is the regional capital of the northeast. So normally when someone is describing the northeast of England, they're generalising about Newcastle. And as a city, like 100 odd years ago, we used to be like the #1 industrial city in England. So we used to be responsible for making ships. So our city was like clogged up in smoke and fumes, and obviously which isn't good for the environment. But on the picture, so that was what the quayside, which I don't know if you've had a look around yet. That's what it looks like around 1900, and that's the Sunday morning market, which still goes on now. And that's in 9th of February 1928 when the famous Tyne Bridge was in construction. And 1928 when it was finished, and you can still see that all the smog and smoke and everything is still present. And then in the 60s you can see that, I don't know if it's just the quality of the photo, but the smog's decreased and looks a bit cleaner and tidier, but obviously still isn't up to good environmental standards. And this is 2008, so 4 years ago, and obviously looks a lot cleaner and a lot less traffic and genuinely better. And 2012, with the Millennium Bridge, the Tyne Bridge, and the Sage, the Baltic, and just genuinely looking a lot cleaner and a lot better for the environment, and has been named the #1 environmental city in England. So, yeah.
Yeah, as of 2009, we were the most green city in Great Britain, as part of the Sustainable City Index, and which is something we're quite proud of, because as Lisa just said, we've come from quite an industrial past. So this quote here sort of just illustrates that we've overcome the legacy of the past. And it's our city council's sustainable community strategy, which is what's committing Newcastle to being such a green sort of leader in the UK. And we're going to go through some of the reasons why we are so green.
Our performance, we've rated highly in 3 of the indicators of what you need to be, which is environment, the quality of life, and the future proofing.
Sorry. I was just thinking, I was like, you don't say. In environmental performance, we came second in Britain, so that includes England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. We came 7th in air quality. Considering we're an industrial city, I think that's a good thing. So, our average background concentrations of nitrogen dioxide is 16.40 parts per million. Don't ask me what that means. Biodiversity, we came 3rd, and that's the proportion of local nature sites under conservation management in the last 5 years, 61%. I think that's a lot, considering we are, a city. We're not just a rural area. This is an urban city, but 61% is being conserved.
And this is the second sort of marker that we scored quite highly on, which is quality of life, especially our transport system. We came for because it takes the average person 185.4 minutes a month to get to public services. It's very specific. We have an average birth rate of 78.15 years, also very specific.
Doesn't mean when you get there you will die, but
yeah. But we think that we are leading the way in transport, reducing CO2 emissions, which is helping us gain a low carbon economy. We've introduced curbs on cars and emission cuts on public transport, and alternative travel. Nice good pun there. But yeah, looking at different ways that we can get around, what's going to help the environment.
So, so as we would say in Newcastle, we obviously say war instead of our, so it'd be war electric cars. And the city's become quite influenced upon using electricity instead of running on petrol, which has seen the installation of over 1,000 charging points over Newcastle and Gateshead. which you obviously can tell in like the recent times where petrol is at such high demand, such high prices, you can obviously tell that there's another alternative that's working equally as well. And we're working to develop grow on the Commonwealth Car Club is underway, and throughout like suburban Newcastle, if we have a suburban Newcastle, and they're rolling out 20 miles per hour speed limits in residential areas, and obviously like still on the British motorways you can have 70 miles an hour, but we're continuing to decrease the speed to reduce accidents, reduce noise pollution, reduce air pollution, just to obviously make the city a bit more greener.
This is a scheme that's quite recent in Newcastle. It's sort of copying off a lot of cities from, well, London being one. They're called NE1 bikes, and they are sort of bikes that you would hire out. I understand that you send a text, and then you get a code, and then with that code you can sort of unlock the bike, and the bike can then be dropped off in any of the stage, like the points. It hasn't really taken off that much, but hopefully in the future we'll see more people using cycling as an alternative to cars, especially at like peak times, like rush hour and things like that.
And one of the most famous, and anyone who's from Newcastle here will obviously have used this numerous times, the metro, which is the Medi, is basically like a tram or a train that there's about 70 or 50 stops throughout Newcastle and Sunderland to obviously encourage the use of public transport and less reduction of cars. And it's one of the biggest underground services outside of London, so outside of the alternative to the tube, because...
Anyone been to London?
Have you used the tube?
Use the tube? Yeah.
You can tell how packed it is and how hot. At least this is a bit nicer, but again, the satisfaction rates aren't the best, but it's still a really reliable source, and pretty much everyone who doesn't have a car depends upon the metro. And yeah, everyone included. So what's the transport system like in your Newcastle? So I might open this up. So do you have like I know in Japan, I don't know where this is in Tokyo, I think they have the bullet train, which is kind of like the metro. Then I'm not so sure about like Germany and South Africa. So what sort of public transports do you have?
In South Africa we have different residential areas, and mainly in black communities we have taxis. Up to 16 passengers in taxi, including a driver. That's the common way of transporting people in between, because we also have buses, but not a lot of people uses buses.
So is it like
we don't have trains.
Oh,
well, no, we built, when was the Gautrain built? 2 years before the World Cup?
But that's not in Newcastle, that's in Johannesburg.
Yeah, but it's a...
No, we don't have trains in Newcastle.
So the taxis?
We used mainly the taxis.
Oh, taxis!
Taxis.
I thought it was like some sort of different thing, but anyway. Yeah, so that's Newcastle. Future-proofing, overall we came second out of Great Britain, which is quite good. And for local food usage, where we came top first, which is great for us, the number of allotments per 1,000 people was 11.74. It's very specific numbers again. The green flag or green pennant awards per 100,000 people were 4.22. 59% of the city is kept as green space, including rural areas. That's quite good, considering like it's a built-up area, but we've still got kind of green spaces and places to relax. And as a city, we are saving vital green spaces and reducing overall our carbon footprint for the area, which is good.
Climate change. This has been a hot topic in recent years, and it certainly has been a hot topic here in Newcastle Upon Tyne. We came third in Britain. Our city was awarded 21.5 points out of 27 for policy, strategy and action planning for climate change. Most of that will be due to the work of the Newcastle City Council, and this is the Civic Centre, so we're using their space. The work has been done through the carbon route map and climate change strategy towards achieving the targets of the European Union Covenant of Mayors and the 10-10 campaign. So these are just things that have been set up to help cities like ours reduce our carbon footprint and be much more greener. We've also achieved the Carbon Trust Standard certification. This is within Britain, and we've gotten recognition from the EU as well.
Our power, as you'd say, because we don't, just our accent.
We're not going to enunciate.
No. This is just energy in general. We've got a partnership with the Newcastle Warm Zone to improve the energy efficiency for across the city. And around 50,000 insulation measures have been installed, which reduces the carbon emission by about 1.25 million tonnes over the lifetime that it's been installed, so it's quite a lot if you think about it.
Solar power. Numerous council homes and buildings have had solar panels installed, or PV panels as they're sometimes called. It's part of a UK government-backed strategy. So the UK government down in Westminster in London came up with this a few years back, and it's just about subsidising, the cost for putting solar panels. However, the subsidy has been lifted. Obviously, we know the economy is not as good as it can. So, unfortunately, as us human beings are, we put the economy before the environment. So obviously, the subsidy has been reduced a bit, or completely eradicated, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
It's not me, it's you.
Oh, it's me. Wind power. Newcastle, and indeed the whole of the northeast, and we have numerous wind farms. I mean, on the coastal route around the city. Something that the northeast is really pioneering new forms of renewable energy in England.
The geothermal power, we're also leading the way in that. The Newcastle Institute for Research on Sustainability is basically showing us how to do that in new ways of getting...
They're trying to drill down to hot water that can be pumped back round in like a cycle, but it's quite far down, I think.
Yeah.
So
It's been done in other cities. It's been done in Blackpool, and it didn't go so well.
But there was a minor earthquake, but they started again. So,
Yeah, so they started again and it worked, so we thought...
No one was hurt, so they just went back to it.
Our waste. For recycling we came second, and the proportion that was recycled from the household was 36.77%, which was quite good. And the household waste collected per resident was 447.61 kilograms.
yeah.
Don't know how
Sorry about all the figures, everyone.
Yeah.
To fine or not to fine? That is the question. Litter in public places is unsightly, as we know. It's disgusting. It makes the city look, unclean, and it's not pleasant. The Newcastle City Council has placed a fine from the minimum of £75 to a maximum of £2,500, which is highly unlikely. But in most cases, it's £75 if you are caught littering. There are bins in the city, recycling bins and so on around the city places, so it is convenient for people to throw away their litter. But we want to ask for your opinion. Do you think a fine should be in place? Do you think people should be compelled to, or it should be something of conscience? I mean, it's I don't know. You think there should be a fine, a deterrent?
Well, they've come to such, I know that in Newcastle they've come to such a demand that they want to cut this out, that they've even caught, we have speeding cameras here, so if you're going over or if you're caught in a CCTV camera or a speeding camera, throwing something out your car while driving, that they can re-watch that tape back, and then if they manage to get your name and your code, that they can send the fine straight to you. So it's come to such a point that basically you just can't get away with it anymore. So,
good
yeah,
idea.
what do you think your opinion
Not a good idea?
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Newcastle, South Africa has a similar system to that. If you caught on a camera or on a CCTV, or a traffic officer or any other officer has to catch you littering, or anyone from the public sees you littering, then you can be fined. And by doing that, we've earned the title of the cleanest town in our province. Yeah.
Something about Newcastle,
It's also the second cleanest town in our country. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah.
I think in Switzerland, I don't know if I'm against or for it, because I think it's a bit too harsh. Like, you cannot say just you're literally, okay, we fine you, and will it work? I don't know. But in Switzerland, we don't have this. I think it's a possibility if you really like throw things out. And normally in the law in Switzerland is written, if you spit on the ground, you get a fine. Even, but that doesn't work like this. People just don't throw paper. It's just advertisement first before giving a punishment. It's maybe better to make advertisement and to make people understand. And at the end, when they really don't understand that, maybe fine. So what we do is like basically we try to advertise for cleaner things, put bins everywhere.
Is litter a problem in Switzerland?
No. We don't need to find because
Yeah,
there was enough advertisement and people know it's really well, how do you say, bad when someone like throws something on the ground, like people will look to him and like, what are you doing? So he's not going to do that.
So different cultures. Yeah. And so we kind of agree that fine should be used as a last resort.
That spitting thing's actually really interesting because there's loads of people in town here that spit on the ground just randomly, and you do walk past and just think, what are you doing with you?
So this has been what Newcastle does as a community and as a council, but this is what we personally have been doing as part of Scene, which is what Rachel runs from Newcastle College. So we do various things, and here's a few.
So on Valentine's Day this year, instead of cuddling up to a loved one, we went.
Cutting up trees.
Yeah, we spent the day cutting down trees in a Northumberland Wildlife Trust site, because basically you would think cutting down trees is bad for the environment, but actually it was becoming so overgrown that it was just damaging the
marshland.
Yeah, marshland. So it was just damaging
the water, and they wanted to reflood the area. So we're doing putting dams in. These like cool plastic dams that you have to whack in with massive mallets. And it was a really good day.
It was a good day.
It was really good.
And then you could see us dragging the logs back out. Like it took a lot of arm strength to say.
Hence, I wasn't in that picture.
But yeah, so it was a good day out nonetheless. A bit cold, but.
A big event we did in college was the sustainability fair, where we had different stores from lots of different organisations and groups within college, trying to raise awareness and give people some information about environmental issues. So this was a smoothie bike that had a smoothie attached to the back of it that when you rode would like blend your fruit in your smoothie, and then you got a free smoothie. But you also had to work for your smoothie. And this is Guy, one of the teachers at Newcastle College, dressed like a banana. He was like our publicity. He walked around the college trying to get people in dressed as a banana.
It was a really hot day as well.
Yeah.
And he came back and like all of his makeup had sweated down his face.
Ripping off. It was pretty sight. And then we had like a carbon calculator where you would type in certain information about yourself, and it would give you sort of an estimate of how bad or good your carbon footprint was. So I think if you went abroad, like if you were by plane, your carbon footprint like leapt really high. So that was one of the things that if people went on lots of holidays, they had a really bad carbon footprint.
Against you. We all know we can.
No
problems.
And also, only a few weeks ago, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, we held an event in our college to promote like sustainability around our city. So we had, it's part of the Rio G20 Summit, and we had local high schools of year 10 to 11, so there were about 14, 15 that came, and we had to teach them about food, jobs, energy and something else.
There was going to be flooding, but
yeah, there was going to be flooding, but we had really bad storms, so we couldn't obviously do flooding. But so yeah, then each of us had to split into a group and then present a presentation to a group of a school year, which was fun. But again, it took a bit time to get them going, but when they got going, they got like really into it.
And they gave us suggestions, which we have.
And because one of our geography teachers is partnered with the UN, we were able to present all our findings to the United Nations as part of the Rio Plus 20 Summit. So it was a really good day because we were like teaching to the next generation how they can continue on and make their city greener.
And we got a nice picture as well.
And it's a lovely picture.
What we do with our waste personally, Newcastle College, what we all attend, is the largest sixth form provider and the leading in further education and higher education in England, so that's pretty cool. The college construction academies and West Lancaster Academy generated 343 tonnes of waste in 12 months. 93% of it was recycled, so only 7% wasn't, so that's quite good. Our city, like here, scored 19 out of 20 on recycling, placed second on the Sustainable City Index in this area, which is, again, pretty good. We are reusing, recycling, composting and turning waste into a valuable source of energy, and we're cutting greenhouse emissions and reducing the need for a landfill, which is a major source of methane, which again links in with the whole climate change. And
yes, we did come first in 2009 and 2010. Massive leap from years ago, almost a century ago, or over a century ago. However, we still do have future priorities. As we did mention with our metro system and some others and the bikes and so on and so forth, we are not perfect. We do have future priorities, the things we still aim for. We will continue to recycle, reuse, as Hannah said, and composting. We want to work towards the procurement of a treatment facility for residual waste. We want to continue, and we are continuing, to work to reduce energy in the city and increase the use of renewable technologies, wind farms, so on and so forth. And we continue to work to procure Newcastle Energy Services Company that is based here in Newcastle and working for our benefit. Sounds kind of selfish, but yeah. We'd like to move ahead with delivery of the Council's climate change strategy, of the citywide strategy via the Climate Change Partnership. So it's more just about continuing work and improving ourselves. And of course, to promote and encourage the use of sustainable transport, which is bikes. Thank you very much for listening to us from Scene, sixth form students at Newcastle College. Thank you and good morning.
So, but we're going to have a little chat.
Yeah, we've got questions on the next one.
Great. So, if everybody could have a little chat in their tables, if there's smaller tables, you could maybe move in that table, have a couple tables, yeah? And discuss about these questions, yeah? So, do you want to...
Okay. I'll take the first, and then we'll just rotate. Okay, do you know the industrial history of your Newcastles of the world?
Was it industrial at all?
Was it industrial, or has it always been pretty? Have you had like shipbuilding or anything industrial with factories and smoke? Any?
No, because I was not going to go through them all then.
We should go. Okay. Next.
We've already really talked about this, but what's your transport system like to help reduce carbon emissions?
Are there lots of green spaces in your city? Because apparently we have 52% green spaces.
59%.
59. Wow. So, didn't know that. So how good do you think your green spaces in your city are?
Is there investment in renewable energy in your area? So do you know if there's anything going on about solar energy, geothermal, wind, whatever else there is?
Hydro. And what's your city's attitude towards waste and recycling? Well, we know what Switzerland is.
So if you discuss that in your groups, and then we'll move on to a bit jazzy, the fun stuff. But yeah, thank you.
Later on in the week, you can come to your adult delegates.
Maybe
through the main
transport.
So does your like train have like a special like name? Like ours is called the Metro. So do you have like, or is it in Japanese?
In Japanese we have Ida-sen. It's a local train.
Oh right. So it's smaller than like national trains.
I'm sure it's much more effective than ours.
It's only around 2 times per hour.
Oh okay.
Yeah, so
you have to wait.
Oh, because our metro's pretty frequent. It's every 5-10 minutes.
We are.
Yeah. Because we're lucky here, even though we're by the sea, we don't
Job status.
Oh, so
So we have
Okay, so renewable energy. Yes, renewable energy.
So basically what the job status is.
You see there's loads of old t-shirts there, there's some stencils there, there's some fabric pens and examples there. What we're going to do, we're going to customize, so you can customize, for example, t-shirt. There's some different size t-shirts, or there's a couple caps, there's only 2, so...
How does your country deal with environmental issues compared to ours?
Well, we're from Switzerland, so it's pretty clean already. We don't really have issues or anything. Of course we have some, but it's nothing really...
We have issues, but so the whole country is 7 million people, so it's
like a big
it's not
town.
so big. And actually the issues we have is like, it's not details, but they're working a lot on it, like to ensure, to reduce, how do you say, emissions of gas, dioxide and stuff.
It's really good to sort of get to know other young people from other parts of the world and sort of learn how different things that they do in their countries can be used here and vice versa.
What I would like our country to start implementing would be the cars that charge on themselves, because we don't have things like that, and maybe a different modes of transport in my country as well, because we only use taxis and they consume a lot of, they actually extract a lot of carbon dioxide.
Well, now we're just painting our customized t-shirts and having a good time together, and I hope that all the days of the week will be that great.